If you've ever sat in a traffic jam thinking that you could design a better street layout, then Mini Motorways is the game for you. This is a deceptively simple puzzle game that wants you to build streets that connect homes to businesses in the most efficient way possible. Of course, that's easier said than done. And it won't take long before you realize that you're just as bad of a city planner as those you used to complain about. But instead of spoiling the fun, let's take a look at one of the best and most original puzzle games available on the Switch. Like most great puzzle games, the concept of Mini Motorways is extremely simple. The goal is to draw streets in an effort to connect differently colored businesses with the same colored houses. That way the drivers can safely complete their trips. You'll find that people from the red houses can only go to red businesses, which in turn is also true for houses painted blue, green, orange, and a whole bunch of other colors. You'll earn a point for every completed trip, but you have to watch out, because if the drivers can't get to the businesses fast enough, then the game will abruptly end and you will have failed. What starts out simple will quickly spiral out of control as the houses get further and further away from downtown, forcing us to draw out-of-the-way streets while simultaneously doing everything we can to avoid congestion. And that won't be your only concern, as many of the maps will include rivers that'll need bridges, as well as mountainous terrain where tunnels will come in handy. The good news is that we're given a choice between two random items at the end of every week. This will allow us to not only earn more street tiles, but also stock up on bridges, roundabouts, street lights, and more. These items are crucial for keeping the traffic running smoothly and reaching the faraway houses and businesses. So much of this game is about giving the drivers different routes to take, relieving the stress of one or two main streets or intersections. The problem is that we don't have a lot of street tiles to work with, and there are constantly new houses and businesses popping up. It ultimately becomes a juggling act where we want to be thorough, but you can only do so much until the end of the week. You know, if you can even make it that long. One thing that I like is how the items aren't an immediate fix. Sure, adding a roundabout or streetlights will help, but they're usually only a band-aid to the bigger problem. One of my favorite items is a freeway that can run over the city and connect the different sides. This is crucial if you have a cluster of one-colored houses that are far away from their respective businesses. However, learning how to use the highways is also important, because they can really mess with the flow of traffic. By solving one problem, you might inadvertently be creating a whole new one. That's the challenge of Mini Motorways. Creating a good-looking street layout is easy, but making it workable for everybody, well, that's the hard part. Especially when more people are moving in to your ever-growing city. You'll go from just a few motorists on the road to massive traffic jams because everybody's trying to get to the same few businesses. And don't think that this game's about to let up on you, because things only get tougher and more stressful with each passing week. No matter how good you think you are at city planning, this game will eventually humble you. Thankfully, there's a lot of content in Mini Motorways. There are 14 real-world cities to build up, including Los Angeles, Tokyo, Moscow, Zurich, Rio de Janeiro, Mexico City, Warsaw, and more. But while the change in look and location may be welcome, I was a little disappointed that the cities weren't more unique. Aside from the color and possibly a mountain range or two, there isn't much that separates these different locations. It would have been fun to see each city have their own unique quirk or something, such as a sandstorm problem in Dubai or flooding issue in Wellington. And that spells out the bigger problem with Mini Motorways. It's just too repetitive. No matter what the map looks like, you'll be doing almost exactly the same thing in each and every level. There's really not a lot of reason to play Los Angeles different from Rio de Janeiro, which is kind of a bummer. It doesn't help that the streets, houses, businesses, and everything else looks the same, no matter where you are. Don't get me wrong, I love the clean, minimalistic look and the use of colors. However, it's frustrating that Tokyo's architecture looks identical to that in Mexico City. The good news is the Mini Motorways controls great on the Switch. Both with the controller or the touch screen, laying down the roads is easy and painless, as is switching between the different items. And you know, you're never actually committed to your terrible mistakes because erasing the streets is just as intuitive. That's ultimately why this game works so well. Well, that and the fact that juggling all these streets and businesses is inherently a whole lot of fun. Sure, it's a little repetitive, but I kept coming back time and time again. And if I'm being honest here, I have a hunch that I'm going to be playing this for a long time to come. And ultimately, that's what makes the Switch a perfect home for Mini Motorways. Think you can build city streets better than the professionals? Well, you can't, but there's a whole lot of fun in trying in the new game, Mini Motorways. This recently released Switch puzzler is giving you the opportunity to plan the transportation system for some of the world's biggest cities, all while making sure to connect the drivers to the businesses without creating too much congestion. It's a deceptively simple game that can be a little repetitive at times, but I think there's enough here to keep you invested long after you've unlocked all 14 cities. Trust me, you're never going to look at a traffic jam the same way after you play Mini Motorways. Hey, thanks for watching our review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Well, except for this month, but you know, that couldn't be helped. But hey, don't worry, we're back to reviewing games, I promise, just like old times. Now, here's the question I have for you. What game would you play if you were stuck in traffic? Is this a time to pull out a racer, or do you want to play something that's just totally different? I'm excited to see your picks in the comments below. Like I just said, the reviews are back, so expect my take on Gravatar Recharged later this week. We're also going to be debuting the new Die Hard Game Fan show, so be ready for that. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,